What's going on, everybody? Welcome to T-Box Talk, episode 54. Back again at Josh's house. Episode 2 from the new set. Very exciting stuff. A lot to go over today. Michael Block, the Boston Celtics. Catching up on the weekend. Some what are we watching? Maybe the Succession finale. We'll get into all of it today on T-Box Talk. My name's Andrew, as always, joined today by Josh and Will.
Howdy.
Hey.
Hello, everybody. All right, let's get into it. Memorial Day weekend. Will, what'd you get into?
I had a great Memorial Day weekend. Went up to Oxford, Mass. to visit my buddy Joe and his dad. Kind of a yearly thing that we do. And I brought my dad along this time, so it was the four of us. The dads were bonding. They were doing dad stuff, and it was a good time. Spent basically the whole day outside, 12 hours playing cornhole, ladder ball, shooting the shit, and grilling some goddamn good food.
Did you shoot any of the guns?
That lasted about 15 minutes. We started drinking at like 11 o'clock, so by the time the guns came out, it was like 4, and no one could fucking aim for shit. So,
Sounds like a liability.
We literally set up this like trailer parky, like cans hanging from a rope in the backyard, and like I was the only one who hit any can.
What were you shooting?
Just like the gun or the
gun, yeah. Like
it's just a 177. It's just a pellet gun.
I thought
okay.
I'm thinking he's out here with like an AR-15 in the backyard.
No, dude, it's fucking 22 demolished cans. It's just overkill.
That's what I had when I went to my buddy's house in Florida, and I was in the outback of Florida, and he was just walking through the streets with the neighborhoods with waving to neighbors with an assault rifle in his hand. It was the most bizarre thing guns are different in certain places. It's fucking wild.
Yes, they are.
Florida,
we were in the back of a police officer's house. Like the police officer knew we were back there and knows people use his yard for this, shooting fucking an AR-15. It was the wildest.
Into like a pile of dirt.
He was like
right?
the community police officer, yeah. And there's a big pile of dirt back there, and we were setting up targets, but we were firing off. Like, I'm not kidding. Like he was like fucking trigger fingering an AR-15 in the back of a police officer's house. It was the most, but obviously it wasn't. It was just at Dirt Mountain. I want to make that clear.
Just casual Florida things.
Yep.
Okay. What else you get into, Will?
Not really much else. I got back early on Sunday, and Marissa and I went and hit Trader Joe's, did our weekly grocery shopping, and that's about it.
You didn't have to make him feel bad about not doing more stuff. I think he gave us enough.
I mean, that was more than I fucking did. I fucking sat on my ass. I played video games all weekend, and then I went to my friend's apartment for Game 6 for the Celtics, and then little Memorial Day cookout with the family yesterday. I had 4 hot dogs in one sitting. It was awesome.
Well, what are you complaining about? That sounds like a decent Memorial Day.
Oh, yeah, I had a great weekend.
Yeah.
Besides the Celtics. But, Josh, what'd you get into? You were in upstate.
Oh, yeah, I went to the fucking boondocks. Yeah. I was out in the middle of nowhere in a place called Elmira, New York, which is where my mom is from. I went to go see my grandparents. The funniest thing is like my grandfather is 91 years old, but he was a bodybuilder all his life. So he always dude. First off, the guy knows how to eat more than most of the people I know. The guy, he's one of those guys. It's the funniest fucking thing where like when you make food in his house and you sit down to eat your food, there's a tax. You know what I'm saying? At 91, there's a goddamn tax. He was fucking taking, he like makes his own plate from your plate when you sit down and eat, and he's always there flexing his biceps and shit because he fucking.
You used to charge a tax when we used to come over here and hang out like in high school.
I did charge a tax.
Josh charged a tax for any snacks and food brought up into the attic when we were hanging out.
Well, dude, I mean, a little bit different of taxation going on there. He's just genuinely hungry for everything, and he's 91. He's kind of seniority tax. Whereas that tax was like...
That's like the cheese tax.
It is.
Yeah.
With dogs, right?
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Yeah, except he's not a dog. No, it's funny, but like when you're hosting everybody every weekend for years on end, there's got to be some form of payment. You know what I mean? And so we were getting high a bunch at that time, and it was like we're in the attic getting stoned. Could I go down and make food? Yes, but they were ordering food out most of the time because they're little daddies and mommies, except for Colucci giving them money to buy a chicken parm or whatever. There's a tax on that,
couple spicy cheese fries.
Yeah.
Kick them Josh's way.
Yep.
And,
Everybody would come in like I was the king. They would come in. They would grace me with their gifts.
Oh, it was funny. So then, yeah, that's about it. When did you get back?
I came back on Sunday night, actually. And before I did, the 2 days leading up to it, believe it or not, we went to a place called Seneca Lake, which is one of the Finger Lakes out in New York. What I didn't know is that New York is like the second state in the country for the best wine and the most vineyards in the whole country. So around Seneca Lake, there's actually like 22 or 25 vineyards that are all on this like hill overarching one of the Finger Lakes. It was actually a beautiful, beautiful. Some of the drives out there are like true country drives. It's fucking unbelievable, you know?
Yeah, my old roommate Will, he grew up in I'm going to mispronounce the hell out of this. Canandaigua Lake. It's up by Naples, so I'm assuming up towards that upstate area. Well, very upstate. And some of the snaps and pictures I see from where he lives, it's all just like Adirondack, mountains and fucking huge lakes everywhere.
It's actually like really relaxing, because like long country drives, there's something about it that kind of separate you from your normal life. People out there are very different than people here, and we're in the suburbs, but like between cities and suburbs, people, man, it's just sometimes you'll just see somebody in the middle of nowhere, like the true middle of nowhere, standing on the side of the road, scratching his head. It's like a bizarre, because it's that far out there, like where.
It's like when we go up to Vermont and you see those like houses that are just kind of like literally in the middle of these like big
exactly
farmlands.
What it's like.
Does somebody live there year round? Like, I don't get it. Like,
the only difference is that when you go to Vermont, most of what you're coming through it's a little bit more like punched together. It's a little bit, whereas like, because it's, you're in mountain ranges and whatnot in the hills. When you go through the Catskills, it's similar to Vermont, a little bit different because that's where you have to go through to get there. But when you're actually in the country, like as an example, when I went to Alabama that one time and then now this, the sheer amount of land that they have, of farming land, and the distance in which the houses are and everything like that, it's unbelievable. I struggle to fathom that way of life because it's so unique.
Yeah, it's like people from that type of like regions, they'll drive like an hour to the grocery store. Meanwhile, like around here, if you have to drive more than 10 minutes to the grocery store, it's like a pain in the ass in a long time.
That's like a Rhode Island thing, though. Like if you drive anywhere that's more than 30 minutes, like maybe not.
Yeah.
Yep,
No,
that is such a Rhode Island thing.
Yeah,
like we're probably like 20 minutes outside of Providence, and Providence, my opinion is that Providence has some of the best food in the country, and for whatever reason, we don't go there that much. Like, you know what I mean?
Well,
you guys don't go there that much either, right? Well,
I'll quick plug here. We met one of the guys at the group chat golf tournament. His name was Art, tall guy. He was one of the first to tee off on the long drive hole. And he told us, he's like, oh, yeah, I own Lucky Enough in Providence. It's a bar and lounge.
Yeah.
And so I went there last Thursday with Will, and then Marissa and I went again after grocery shopping on Sunday. Really great little spot. So
with Will?
What did I say? What did I say? I
So
forget.
we went there with Marissa and Will.
Oh, yeah. Well, I went there with Will on Thursday to check it out, my buddy. And then Marissa and I went again on Sunday so I could take her and show her. And it's a great little spot. Food is very affordable. It was fantastic. Huge beer list, like outdoor seating, patio. They smoke their own wings and stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great spot. So actually, contrary to that, no, I don't spend time in Providence.
Well, how far are you from East Providence?
Like to get into like Fed Hill or downtown, it's like 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, like that's not a long time.
No.
That's like
No,
nothing.
It's not, but I hate dealing with all the fucking traffic, especially if I got to get on 95 or
You
something.
think there's that much traffic that you wouldn't go there?
I hate driving in Providence. Like I will take 295 and go around Providence to get down to like Warwick or something.
Because like for me, it's not even. And this is so funny, but that Seneca Lake was about 43 minutes from where my mom grew up. She didn't even know it existed.
That's wild.
She'd never gone there. What the fuck?
It's not new. Like it's not like a new like
No,
vineyard.
no, the fucking Earth created
No,
it
no,
like
no.
a
I'm
million
saying,
years
like,
ago.
But like the vineyards around it and stuff aren't new.
No, they're not new. In fact, that place is very old, actually, and it's been there, I think, since probably New York was colonized. And it's like one of those things. There is this thing. There's an outdoor attraction, state park that's probably 500 yards away from the town itself and the lake. And it's like this gorge where the earth, there's a crack in the earth, and they have these stairs that walk on down. It's actually really cool.
That sounds scary as fuck, though.
It's come on, Mr. Fear Guy. It's not that scary. It's a fucking children's attraction, basically. But
I'm picturing like the steps to Mordor. Like,
that's kind of what it is. But it's you have to go through tunnels that have cracks in the ceilings and it's carved out of rock. But anyways, they had gone there when they were kids, but they never made it to fucking Seneca Lake, which was another 500 yards. It's dude. They didn't have Google back then, so
that's true.
So like you didn't have that ability. You'd have to look at a map. Which to get to the first place, I would have thought they would have to look at a map and say, "Oh, there's a fucking massive lake that's like 500 yards
up." Or even
up.
just like word of mouth, like, "Hey, you
word
go to
of
the
mouth."
lake?
Yeah,
because there's nothing around
Seneca
those areas.
Yeah.
Anything that I would go to, like as an example, they had a development that had all these, all the main chains, 25 restaurants, main chain restaurants kind of thing, and it was sort of centered around a Walmart. Everything's built around Walmarts now. It's just Walmart is like a teeming place for life, I guess. But that all didn't exist 20 years ago. So you have to think what the fuck did they do out there? Because there's nothing else there.
It's just wine.
Yeah, but that's what my point. Yeah. But make wine, drink wine. I agree with that. That's a good thing to do. But that's on Seneca Lake. That's not in Elmira, New York, where there's just houses.
That's fucking funny. Yeah. All right, we'll move into some golf stuff, and I'm gonna lead it off here. Shout out Tommy. I know he listens. My cousin Tommy. I know he listens to the podcast. Me and him golfed together for the first time ever.
You went out with him.
Yeah,
first time ever.
First time ever. Me and Tommy golfed together. It was a fantastic day. He brought his friend Nick. It was a lot of fun.
You played like shit.
It's over. I think it's over. I played the first couple rounds this year. I played great. I was like excited about where I was heading. I shot a 58 on the front nine on Saturday. I kept an honest score. I was given penalties and stuff. A 58.
Did you just play 9 holes?
I played 18 holes.
Oh, how'd the back 9 go?
I started out 7-8, scratched out the rest of the scorecard.
DNR.
I'm done.
What happened?
I couldn't get the ball in the air. And every time I got it in the air, it went into the woods.
You know why? You stopped going to the range.
Here's the sad part. The day before, when I wasn't doing anything,
you went to the range.
I went to the range. I got a full range session in. I was hitting the ball great.
Well.
I didn't hit my driver good at all, right? So I was like, okay, if the driver's not working tomorrow, I won't take it out. Driver was not working. I think I lost 10 balls. I don't know what happened. Put the driver away. Then I couldn't hit my irons. I couldn't do anything. It was horrible. And but I still had a good time. Shout out Tommy, great golfer. He's not crazy.
It's weird because you didn't really play that bad when we played in those scrambles. There was matter of fact, you played really good.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know what happened.
The new bag luck wore off after 3 rounds.
Dude, it was like I had all the gear working for me. I had the new Atlas rangefinder. I had my golf bag. I had my new golf hat. I was so excited to get out there with Tommy, and it just
didn't play out.
Disaster.
I mean, sometimes when I over-prepare, I play my worst.
Dude, it's not even like that though. It was like I forgot how to swing. I couldn't get the ball in the air. I was so embarrassed because Tommy brought his friend and his friend knew I worked for the golf company and stuff, so he was probably expecting me to be pretty good. And it got to the point where every time I got the ball in the air and actually hit a good shot, they'd be like, this kid would be like, "Oh, dude, great job." I was like, "Oh my god, I'm the asshole of the group right now. I feel so bad."
You were like the equivalent of bringing along an 8-year-old to a golf.
Or somebody who's never golfed before.
Yeah.
Dude, it was.
Good job, little buddy.
It was horrible, but I had a good time. And I'll leave it at that.
Did you have a good time? Doesn't sound like you had that good of a time.
I was so embarrassed.
Yeah.
I was so embarrassed. Yeah. It was bad. I also then left the rangefinder freaking attached to the golf cart. And so then I had to sprint back for it while I was in the car. But it was still there, which was nice. Don't know how I did that, but fuck that one up.
Well, that's like that was always one of the features that's why we did the mag latch case, because people, it is the thing. I mean, people, it's not hard to leave that thing behind. It's not hard to leave any rangefinder behind, No. But, what
are you going to do?
We played Braintree Municipal Golf Course. It was a lot of fun. It was a great course. We should go out there and play. But we also had a situation where the third guy was late, and so we teed off. The starter was not having any shit. He was but he was a young kid too, which was wild. And he was like, "No, you guys got to go," and he can meet you out there. And then turns out we were waiting all day anyway, so it wasn't even that big of a deal. But that's about that. I suck at golf again, but
I don't even know when I'm going to be able to play golf, dude.
I know.
Yeah, Josh's finger that we talked about last weekend has taken a turn for the worse.
I went to urgent care yesterday.
What'd they say?
And they were just like, it's going to dry up in there. The blood will dry, and then it'll grow out or it will fall off.
Probably fall off. I'm losing a toenail right now.
Really? You had this happen to you?
No, but my toenail is cracked right down the middle.
Oh.
So at some point, that bad layer is coming off.
Jesus Christ.
But it might grow out where it's cracked. It might grow out.
It might. I just, the good part about it is it's not getting hooked on my sock or something,
Yeah.
and getting ripped off in my shoe.
The weird part is I didn't hit my finger that hard. I did, but as an example, where I actually hit whatever, on my finger, doesn't hurt at all. It's just swollen.
Mm-hmm.
The swelling sometimes is much worse than the actual injury. It's kind of wild.
I had a mild panic attack yesterday. I got home after literally told Josh it took me an hour to get home yesterday because all the Memorial Day parades. But I finally get home. I get all my stuff from the office up to my home office. And I'm trying to install the microphone on my desk that clamps on, but the desk is it's angled so it won't hook on correctly. I ended up using a book, but regardless, I'm sitting under the desk and I hit the table, and the table hit my thumb, my joint right against the couch, immediately turned purple and swollen. And I was like, no.
Everybody just.
And I woke up this morning and it's normal, so I'm like, sweet.
Oh, there you go.
But anyways, back on the golf track, Michael Block, the legend of the PGA Championship. Went out, got invited to play in the Colonial golf tournament, missed the cut.
Yeah.
And now he's stepping away from golf. He's stepping away from the PGA Tour for a little bit.
Really?
I think, it's what everybody's saying right now. It's, I think it got bright real fast for him.
Yeah, I mean, how can you capitalize? I mean, that was such a big day for him. I can't imagine
that'll be the biggest day of his life.
Right.
I would have just
how do you
walked away.
immediately turn around and capitalize and do something greater than that?
Well, you know what's funny? We talk about this all the time, but it's the players and it's the companies, people. It's the ones who consistently incline over time. The truth is, you can watch it from the And One documentary. You can watch it from, 1,000 other. There's a million other startups and companies that have come along and have had meteoric rises. But when you have too much demand, as an example, when COVID happened and all these consumer product companies had this outrageous demand and whatnot, and especially e-commerce companies, it challenged every single business to meet those demands, and it can bankrupt you because if you, or as an example, everybody started over ordering once those orders came in, right? But then because of that, the cost went up so much, and there was a supply chain shortage of this and that and everything, so the cost went way up. And so it's all about in many ways, it's better to slow build and just brick by brick and go up. Fucking what's his face? The richest guy in the world, or once was, I don't know what his name is.
Who are you talking about?
Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett. When he was a young kid, he started investing, and it's just dollar by dollar. It just grew and grew and grew until he had enough money to look into company. But my point being is that this guy, he has this explosion, and the expectations set for him are at the highest level in the history of golf. No one's ever done what he did. So it's like he set himself up almost for failure in the future, because if he goes out to that tournament, the expectations of him versus what he actually can deliver on a regular basis are way out of whack.
Yeah, it's I think he's played in PGA Tour events before and probably missed several cuts, like as normal. But because he made the cut, he was a national sensation, whatever. The lead story on all the golf articles is how he blew it this weekend. It's like, no, he's just like, that's how he plays.
He's a good golfer that had a great day.
Yeah, he's just a normal ass guy, and everybody's like writing articles about how he missed the cut. It's like, geez, give the guy a break.
And they're gonna build him up to tear him down. Like the magic of Michael is dead. You know what I mean? Like it's sensationalism. They're looking for any little piece of story that they can nibble on. Those fucking rats.
Yeah, it's like when like these like crazy like guys will go viral for like a funny video online, and then like they'll like get on all like the different news outlets and stuff, and then all of a sudden people like take a look into their like actual like content. They're like, oh, this guy's actually kind of crazy, and like we shouldn't be pushing his content. It's like that stuff. So you break out, and then like everybody's like, tear him down. So anyways, we can move into the Boston Celtics. Last night, well, to start this off, Celtics were down 3-0. They come back. We talked about it last week. I was really excited. Me and Josh were both very excited. Saturday night is one of the all-time sports moments. Marcus Smart throws up a three. Derek White tips it back in with 0.2 seconds left to force Game 7. And all of Boston we were all walking on our high horses like, we're going to win Game 7, no question. Greatest comeback ever, blah, blah, blah. And the Celtics got fucking blown out last night. And me and Josh have some vendettas to pick, so we're going to pick them. I was really excited for the game. Going into it, Jason Tatum, obviously first play of the game, rolls his ankle. He was a dead fish all night because of it. Unfortunately, he stayed out there, which...
Shouldn't even have had him stay out there.
That's what I was about to say. At what point is Tatum out there just a liability for defense?
He was a liability.
And he was an absolute liability. But a guy like that goes down. The number 2 guy, Jaylen Brown, got to step up. This is your moment to become a hero, right? The number 1 guy's down. Where are you? 8 turnovers, like couldn't hit a shot to save his life. Horrible. The only one who really tried was Derek White, to be honest with you.
Derek White,
hero of Game 6.
I actually feel bad for him because and honestly, if you look back at the last couple games, the realities are they wouldn't even be where they are without Derek White, even just consistently shooting. And I was actually in the first couple games, I was going very like negative. I was in the first couple games, I was negative on Derek White because I was like.
Well, nobody was shooting in the first 3 games. They all played like fucking dog shit.
Oh
but
man, the way that game went last night, and because it's not like they didn't have looks. I mean, the Heat are not that good of a team. The way that the amount of the sheer number. Do you have the stats at all? Like how many shots actually went up for the Celtics?
I would actually love to know their 3-point number. I'm not gonna lie. As soon as the game ended, I shut my TV off.
I didn't even finish it out. I was
fucking depressing.
We had watched like loyally for weeks.
Oh my god! You want to hear this number?
I don't even know.
This is the first time I'm looking at this. Last night, the Celtics shot 9 for 42 from 3-point land.
Oh my god!
The Heat shot 14 for 28. They shot 50% from 3-point land. The Celtics shot 32 for 82 from the field, 9 for 42 from 3, 11 for 13 from free throws. Here's the big one. They had 15 turnovers. Jesus Christ.
How many turnovers did the Heat have?
The Heat had 14 turnovers, actually. But it doesn't matter because they're playing with such a big lead. It was just sad.
The thing I don't understand, the thing I do not understand is how any NBA team that's finding themselves in a Game 7 in a playoff and nonetheless Eastern Conference Finals can shoot that bad.
Especially after coming back from down 3-0 in your own home building.
I mean, 42 shots and they hit 9. I don't even think, dude, that number I've never seen in a game. I've never seen that in college basketball. I've never seen that in, I mean, not that I'm like the avid watcher. I didn't see that in biddy ball when I was a kid. That miss ratio is like, I swear to God, last night there was a thought crossed my mind because Jaylen Brown was, his fucking dead face smirk that he, or not smirk, but his like sadness, that face that he walks around with. I thought for a second that he fixed the game. Like, it occurred to me that he's just turning the ball over every play. He's missing. He wasn't even passing the ball.
That was the thing that really made me upset. Every time the Heat missed the shot or the Celtics got a turnover, it'd be like, okay, let's get a good play going, and then he'd just pull up from like 5 feet.
And the worst part is that, if you're in that situation where you're cold and you're cold, you don't keep fucking shooting.
No.
Like, pass it to Derek White. Do everything in your power. The Heat did that. Their whole offensive power was predicated on the performance of Morris. There was nobody else on the Heat. Jimmy Butler was sucking dick.
Yes, that's what drives me crazy. Is Jimmy Butler was like, didn't have that great of a game, but he was like, I'm going to kick it to my guys, Gabe Vincent. And
he
the
passed.
Other kids.
He created opportunity. He went up for fouls. Jaylen Brown, he wasn't even drawing fouls. He was just trying to jump over people. And oh, my God.
What drives me even more crazy is that the Celtics are a bigger team physically than the Heat, and instead they took 42 three-pointers. Get the ball down low.
It made no sense.
And just fight.
Well,
just
there's
fight.
a problem. There's a problem. There's a sickness in the NBA right now. Okay, there's a plague, and you know exactly what I'm going to say.
Launch threes.
And yes, but I'll even term it out, or I'll say it in a different way. Everybody wants to be Steph fucking Curry.
Yeah.
And the realities are, and Klay Thompson for that matter, because he does the same shit. They're the best. I think they're the best 3-point shooters of all time. Maybe Ray Allen's third, but the realities are, they're not. Jaylen Brown, you're not Steph Curry. Why are you pulling up from half court when you have 2 defenders on you, you fucking moron? And the worst part is that if he didn't miss the shot from 60 feet out, taking fucking launching threes with no open opportunities, he was just turning the ball over.
It was crazy.
He was giving the ball to the Heat.
It was one of those games where I watched it and you just knew that they had nothing. They had no answer. Every time we would get within 8 points, they'd break it back out to 17. You're like, what the fuck just happened? What are we
Well,
doing?
Andrew, that's what happens
Game
when you shoot 9 for
home.
42. That's
Game
what
7
happens.
at home.
Andrew, when you shoot 9 for 42, you can't win an NBA Finals game. 9 for 40 fucking 2. What percentage is that? Like 20%? 15%?
Probably worse. I don't even
10%?
know.
I don't even know. Oh,
But speaking of my bad bets.
Oh God. Here we go.
I had one bet on the game last night. It was a parlay, the Celtics to win and Jason Tatum to score over 40 points. It was like a crapshoot parlay. First play of the game, Tatum rolls his ankle. He's useless the rest of the game. Just my luck. But the Celtics are done. It's Nuggets versus Heat in the finals. I probably won't watch a single second of it because I'm too sad. But it's whatever. But we'll get off the Celtics for now, and we'll roll into some what are we watching. I got a couple things right off the rip. Yellowjackets season 2 finale was actually pretty good. I've been shitting on the season all season, but the finale for season 2 was actually really good. So I'm glad I stuck with it. They kind of brought everything together, and they set up for a really good season 3, but also like closed out season 2 very well.
Okay, it's good to know.
So I was pretty pumped about that. I'm still watching that show, Love, the Judd Apatow show I was talking about. It's gotten a lot better. It's actually pretty funny. It's a really good show. I'm like almost a season in, and my big complaint, so I got an ad that the Super Mario Brothers movie was now streaming on Amazon Prime, and I got so excited. I just saw the ad, right? And I was like, okay, I'm going to watch that later. I'm really excited, right? Day goes past, I'm into the night. I'm like, all right, I'm ready to watch Super Mario Brothers now. I get to Amazon Prime. I'm like, oh, let's do it. There it is right there. Rent for $20.
$20?
Like, why? It was, they said it was available to stream, but you had to still rent it and pay for it. And I was really sad and didn't watch Super Mario Brothers. So now I'll have to wait to watch that. but that about wraps it up for me.
Yeah, I mean, we were gonna finish Yellowjackets last night, but it was like 8:30, and there was like I think it's an hour-long episode or something like that. So I was like, no, I'm not staying up for that. So finishing that tonight, and then Marissa and I have been watching. It's actually kind of like a disturbing show. I actually had Marissa turn it off the other day, but it's called Undercover Underage. And
Oh yeah,
it's a show about this nonprofit called SOSA that works with local law enforcement to catch predators. So they basically pose as underage girls, and then they lure the predators in, and then they hand it over to law enforcement. Law enforcement takes it from there.
I've seen clips of that.
Yeah, but it's wild. It's wild because it takes place in Stamford, Connecticut. Like, that's where the home base is.
No.
I can't tell you how many locations have been ruined so far for me watching this show.
Fucking kidding me?
Guess where one of the guys they catch, guess where they meet? Colony Pizza. Downtown.
No way.
Yeah, and I'm like I would go to Colony on a weekly basis. So it's like
I love
they were
Colony.
doing fucking meetups at Colony, like with underage girls. It's like who knows if I was there at one point when something like this was happening, you know what I mean? And then like I see like all of what's that main road? It's not Summer Street, it's Bedford Street. So like they have like you just see like all the restaurants on Bedford Street when they're like going around and like sneaking up on these people and stuff, and it's just like wild to think like that's how scary it is in Stamford. And I lived there for 2 years, and like would have never thought that was just like a hub for predators.
That fucking sucks.
Oh my God,
that fucking
dude.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I mean, at least they're catching them though, or some of them.
Yeah, and I literally like Marissa and I were watching it, and I was like, I swear to God, I was like this looks like it's Chopin or like past 95. I was like, I swear to God, like if they go to Colony Pizza, and like what do you know? It's Colony Pizza.
I'm kind of surprised. Did they like show the name of the restaurant or like
No,
mention it at all?
they blur it out, but like if you've been there, you know.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Like it's like
Yeah, I was gonna say,
that's
that
the
wouldn't be
original
fair.
location
I was gonna
too,
say,
so it's
that's
like
kinda
you can
wild.
pick it out of a fucking hat. Like, but yeah, other than that, we haven't really been watching anything else. We haven't had a lot of TV time.
No, true. Josh, you got anything?
What did I I watched the season finale of Succession.
Series finale, right? That's the end of the show.
Yeah, series finale.
Did it wrap up good?
It was kind of it's like it's weird because are you guys gonna watch that show?
I don't know. I've thought about it.
Maybe one day.
If
but
I
you
like
can-
run out of things to watch, maybe I'll give it a shot. Yeah, I know my parents watch it.
It's one of those endings that's like the whole show that I mean, you kind of know in your heart that like it can't pan out the way you want it to pan out or the way you think it's going to pan out. You're set up, your expectations are set for it to pan out. But yeah, it's just kind of anticlimactic. It's almost like it builds up to all these seasons and everything. It builds up to one final push, and then they go the route of like just Deflategate, just like deflation. So
I don't watch the show, but from what I was seeing on like Twitter and stuff, everybody was like really happy with the ending and like they were like, "What a great way to end it."
Yeah, it's not a bad way to end it because you know that if this you can
talk about it. I don't really know.
Well, you can use practicality, right? If the show ends, then the family. If the show's all about succession, right? Then or forget succession succeeding, the company or whatever, but. Ultimately, if the show ends, then someone's not in power. The family is no longer in power. You know what I mean? So it pretty much is that. It's that simple.
Gotcha.
Because the whole show is predicated on the idea that these kids are growing up in this fucking unbelievable amount of wealth and power, and they have no idea what to do with it. And they could never know what to do with it, and they will always fuck it up because of their father and their upbringing and the way that they were raised. They're children at heart, and they're fuck-ups. But they're nasty people. They're nasty.
Is the show worth binging?
Yeah, I mean, if you watch one or two episodes of the first season, you'll probably watch all 5 or whatever, 4 or 3 or whatever it is.
Are you watching Barry season 4 yet?
I am, but I hate Barry season 4.
Really?
Dude, it's just like it went from being comedic to being so dark, and he's just like a straight psychopath, and it's just bringing my mood down. It's summer. I don't need to watch psychopaths.
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually, as a matter of fact, that's why I'm enjoying watching movies like Air. And like my dad and I watched the Magic Johnson Larry Bird documentary.
Oh, okay, I've seen that. Yeah.
And then we also are we're watching things we're just watching lighthearted thing. I think the Celtics have been taking up a lot of my view. I haven't really
They
been
have
able to watch
because
it a lot on
because
TV.
they're playing at 8:30 at night. So like that. Thank God that's fucking over now. But like
Honestly, the big movie that I still haven't seen that I'm dying to see is fucking Avatar. I still can't believe I haven't seen it.
it's really not available to stream yet.
No, dude, that movie they wanted to keep in theaters, I think, longer than all the rest because I bet they've just been sucking the tit for so long.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I actually, like I said, the Super Mario Brothers movie. I really want to see. You saw it, right?
Did you see that? No, I didn't see it. My brother did. He said it wasn't that great, but
I think I'm gonna rewatch. Marissa's never seen Trailer Park Boys, so trying to convince her to like watch it start to finish with me. Because again, like that's another like I know it's a rewatch and we don't like talking about rewatches here, but like I haven't watched like an episode of Trailer Park Boys in probably years.
Oh, you should. It's
Yeah.
fucking
I
awesome.
rewatched it. You know, it's one of those shows though where like you start to watch so much that it kind of fucks with your head a little bit. Like when you watch it, you almost always watch it before you go to sleep, and it can like infect your dreams. You know, like the characters are so I don't know, but you know. But the other thing I was gonna say is, oh fuck, I just had my. I'm struggling right now because I was traveling over the weekend, and also last week was such a busy week. I'm going to China. You guys know this, but I'm just saying I'm going to fucking China from the 18th to the 8th. So like in my world right now, it's like I'm like in a race against time. You know what I mean? So
What are your concerns about going to China? Is it the flights? Is it the nonstop work? Is it are you going to be able to find some food? Like
there's only one concern.
I've heard the food is very like different than Americanized Chinese food.
The food's gonna be great. I actually haven't heard one person talk about. And the one person I know that went to China and said the food wasn't good. And the other thing is that China is such a culture-rich place. So, like, there are amazing monuments to their society everywhere. So I'm sure it's going to be one of the great – I believe in my heart that it'll be one of the coolest experiences of my life, despite it being working around the fucking clock.
Yeah.
And the other thing the only concern I have is that my dad is going for juvenile products and I'm going for golf products, and because the golf companies and the golf manufacturers are spread out, this kind of trip is going to be like
You're going to ping pong everywhere.
ping pong everywhere, and there's like not enough time. Realistically speaking, there's not enough time to do it all and get it all done unless we split up.
Will this be the longest plane ride you've ever been on?
No. Well, maybe. But there's actually a fun way to do the China trip, which I didn't know about. And for anybody, not that anybody will ever on this will consider going to fucking China, but if your work life ever takes you there, which it may, it's actually more common than you think because China is obviously a hub for anything consumer products. But you can take a flight to, because we're going to Utah for the outdoor show first.
Yes.
And that'll be 3 days from the 18th, so we'll go to the 21st, and then we'll fly out to China.
So you're going to fly from Utah to China?
We're going to go to Utah. We're going to fly, I think, from Utah to L.A., I believe. L.A. or San Francisco or one of those. And then take a flight to Shanghai, which is going to be about a 10-hour flight.
Oh.
So 10 hours is bad, but it's not anywhere near what the flight could be if you just did it. Like, I could go from the East Coast, and it'd be a 15 to 20-hour flight. And that is such a long time. It's like cutting a day out of your life.
Literally,
and that's two ways. It's like every time you go to China is like cutting 2 days out of your life. Whereas if you split it in half, 10 hours is bad, but I've done 8-hour flights before. And it's not that bad. The only bad part is the turbulence, because on an 8-hour flight or a 10-hour flight, the odds of you running into turbulence are basically you're going to. You know what I mean?
At some point or another.
And you're like over the fucking middle of the ocean where nobody knows you're there.
Yeah, I had a 10-hour flight to.
Oh, that's fucking.
I had a 10-hour flight to Lima, Peru, and it was a red eye. So I slept. Thankfully, I slept most of the flight, but like I woke up to the sunrise at 6 a.m. and we're just like over the middle of the Andes Mountains.
Yeah,
I was just like, the plane
exactly
goes
right.
down, it's Yellowjackets all over for me.
Yellowjackets. I mean, the odds are that's why you hear a lot of those like Asia Airlines shit goes south. You know what I mean? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's like the Indonesian Airlines. I can't remember what it was, but there's, I think that.
I know the Malaysian Airlines.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was the 2 flights that went down.
Yeah, because it's just like you're off the grid, dude. You're just in the middle of nowhere, and you're like suspended over the craziest structures and land masses.
You should
in the
buy
world.
a Nintendo Switch.
Mary's hasn't been stopped talking about fucking Zelda. She's dying.
The new one?
Yeah.
Well, because I thought
she has a Switch, yeah.
Yeah, but I saw a picture she posted that she got Breath of the Wild. That's not the new one.
Oh, it's not?
No, Tears of the Kingdom is the new one.
Oh, so she'll work her way up, but she's addicted to that fucking Switch. She loves it.
No, it's amazing.
I don't think I'm going to do that, dude. I think, honestly, my opinion is that
if you download all 3 Lord of the Rings movies to your laptop, that'll get you there.
That's exactly right. That's your mentality. That's how you have to think.
Just watch 3
You
Lord
have
of
to
the Rings.
watch 3 movies, 3 long movies, and you're there. And the challenge
or 3
is,
Harry Potters.
what I'll end up doing is probably get the Wi-Fi on that flight. They may
100%.
actually have Wi-Fi on those flights. I don't know. But I'm going to do that, and that'll be a time that you have to learn to work on those flights because you're burning too much time.
Yep.
So that's why my communication with you guys is going to be, I actually don't know what it'll be because I don't know. It's such a foreign experience to me. But my hope is that I'll be able to communicate fluidly in those down times when we're on flights or if we're in an airport. Because his claim is that like when you go that far and you're in international waters, flights get canceled all the time. You're going to be waiting in an airport. Something will go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's a guarantee that something will go wrong and you'll be locked in. You know what I mean? So my hope is that I can remain productive. But I think I'm not nervous about the trip. I'm excited for it. I think that people hype these trips up. I think people hype the fear of going to other countries up so much. Like, I'm not saying that it is a communist country and I don't know what that's like, but I'm not going to go there and be some asshole that fucking like, I don't know. I don't have an example, but would say or do something that would go against the communist China. You know what I mean? I'm going to go there and tread lightly everywhere I go. I'm going to be about my wits, and I'm going to be in survival mode most of the time. So it's not like, and I'm going to be working too, and the factories will take care of me, I think.
Yeah.
I know.
It will be the trip of a lifetime. Like, you'll be able to one day say, I went, like, I own my own
I'm probably
business
going to, to be real with you guys, by the time I come back from this trip, I will have had a breakthrough in some way, shape, or form. If this trip, by the end of this trip, I will come back and it will end up being, as long as Omada continues to be okay and do well and we get things turning better like from the last couple of years, because mind you, every consumer products company took a major hit that had anything to do with freight and costs and all that. But if we can stabilize everything right now, which we're doing, and we get, once I go to China, I come back, I will have something to sell that will be $1 million product or better. It'll be a multi-million-dollar. It's a multi-million-dollar trip if you are successful on your mission. And the amount of manufacturers I'm going to and the amount of products that we're going to be considering from that point forward is going to be out. It'll be insane. You can get 10 times the amount of, 100 times maybe the amount of work, and they won't tell you, a fun fact about factories, they will not tell you their new technologies until you go there. So when I go to the rangefinder manufacturer, they're going to tell me things, they're going to show me things that that other people who did business virtually will never have access to. It's just a different, it's going to be cool. I don't mean to talk so long about it.
No, but it is interesting and cool, and I'm sure people will enjoy listening to it. It is cool as fuck. I do have something I want to bring up that I had a thought the other day, and I might be crazy for this. Can you give me a logical explanation as to why a car can go over 100 miles an hour?
Racetracks.
A consumer car.
Racetracks.
Why do they even design them to go over 100 miles an hour?
Racetracks.
No, you're not. No, I'm talking about regular cars.
Racetracks.
Who's racing?
Oh, you mean like a Honda Accord?
Why can my Kia Optima go over 100 miles an hour? Why is that even allowed?
Oh, wow, Andrew, that's a great question.
Why are there not governors on cars, on every car ever made for consumers?
Live free or die, baby.
But there's never, give me a logical explanation. Like, that would
take it easy. I didn't make the rule, buddy. You're yelling at me.
I've been waiting to get this takeoff, dude. I thought about it in the car the other day, and I was like, why can I drive over 100 miles an hour?
I said that, you know why? Because marketing is a thing. I said it's funny because it's not about the fact that it can. Sorry, that you practically will use it. It's about the fact that it can. It's all about marketing and marketability. Like, as an example with our rangefinder.
I was about to say.
And we had this experience. Somebody said, why?
Several times, yeah.
Why would you need a rangefinder to go 900 yards? Because would you rather have more or less? More. But to your point, you have to wonder, would
rangefinder shooting 900 yards is not dangerous.
Well, the other thing, too, you have to think about is two things. One, you think of speeding tickets as bad. Like, Andrew No likes speeding tickets. But the state looks at speeding tickets as good because speeding tickets are added revenue. They help pay for the fucking police department and your taxes and all that. Not taxes.
Government-funded stuff.
Government-funded stuff. That's one. So if they took those governors out and there were no speeding tickets and whatnot, let's just assume on the average population, and it wouldn't matter because you still could get speeding tickets, though, actually at 100 miles an hour. But those speeding tickets at over 100 miles an hour bring in a lot of dough because they're fucking big fines.
They're huge.
But the other thing I'll say is that even if you did make it legal to go over 100, because cars can be worked on so easily and changed and customized and all that, it would be impossible to enforce, I think.
You also have to consider that there's areas of the country, like in Montana, for example, where there's no speed limit. So you can drive however fuck you fast you want.
That's
and
true.
You're not going to get a ticket. Like even the difference between like here in Tennessee, for example, like the speed limit on the highways are like 70 or 75, where they're like 55 or 65 here. So
I don't know. The way I was just thinking about it is like you see sometimes like the nice sports cars that like have the monitor. What's it called?
Thermometer.
Speedometer.
Yeah. Thermometer.
The speedometer can go up to like 160, 180. It's like, in what world should a consumer car ever be designed to go that fast? Like, when are you ever logically going to do that? Never. So why even fucking have it in the car in the first place? I don't know. I was freaking out in the car the other day. I was getting pissed off. I was getting cut off all day. I was pissed off.
Okay.
Anybody got anything else before we wrap up here on T-Box Talk?
I have like a self-check. I have like this occurred to me after your first self-check experience on the pod a few weeks ago. I'm like the type of guy that if you get in my car for a road trip, I don't want you asking me to pull over to pee 30 minutes into the trip because like I'm on a mission now. Like I want to get there with as few stops as possible.
My dad's the same goddamn way.
I stop
But I turn around and I do it to myself too. Like, for example, like this experience specifically, I was leaving the office. It was like 4:15 and I was like, I really got to poop. But I'm like, you know what? I can make it home. I can get home in time and not poop my pants. And I'm just gonna preface this for saying I didn't poop my pants. But like, and this is another thing too. But like, I get like a mile from home, and it's like it's coming out. Like I don't know what to do. So it's like, do I pull over at a gas station? Do I just wing it? Regardless, but it was like a self-check for me. It's like you got to take the time to use the bathroom before you get in the car. So that plays into my. But then there's also the concept, and maybe this is just like a placebo effect or something, but like the closer you get to your destination, the more you have to go.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes.
Like,
and you're like, and I'm like keeled over in pain, and it's like I was fine 5 minutes ago, and now I'm a mile from my house, and I gotta go. Like I gotta go.
It's not placebo. There's something.
There is like a thing. It's called something.
Yeah, we're trained. Fuck. I had that. That's me with like having to piss. Like I have so many experiences in my head right now where I was driving home from something, and on the last 5 minutes of the leg of the journey, out of nowhere, it's like.
It's
like
just it's like a
9.
Yeah, like a switch is just flipped, and you're like keeled over in pain trying to get there.
I don't know what that is.
I don't either, but that's what kind of sparked this whole thought process was after you had that self-check, and I was like driving home, and I'm like, I'm not going to make it home. I was like, I'm pulling over on the side of the road.
Will's going grizzly in the woods. That's a bear shit in the woods.
Wouldn't be the first time.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap up T-Box Talk, episode 53. Thank you so much for listening, everybody.
54.
54. 54. Episode 2 of season 2. Follow us on Instagram at tboxtalkpod or at Omada Golf. Check out the website at www.omadagolf.com. Check out our new products. Very limited supply on Trilite right now, so get yours while the supply lasts. rangefinder bags, coolers, everything. If you already have a Tri-Light, grab a cooler for the Tri-Light. It's selling pretty fast right now. Limited supply on that as well. So thank you all so much for listening. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. And, well, I can't say go Celtics anymore because they're dead, but that's okay. But everybody have a good weekend. Thank you so much for listening. Peace out.
See ya.